just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 87 with Mike Biseglia, Alex Benezowitz. And we have NBA basketball to talk about. 2 games in the book. Knicks winners double overtime versus the Boston Celtics, while the Nets get crushed on the road against the Milwaukee Bucks. Alex.
Mike, how you doing?
How are you? I get to talk to you after a Knicks win and a Nets loss. So let the fun begin.
Very exciting. You don't want to break down the Jets and the Giants? Are you sure you
I
don't
have
want to do that?
no interest at all in talking about that. All I want to talk about is the Knicks victory, and I want to talk about the Nets loss. I'm all
the Yankees
NBA.
Yankees extending Aaron Boone. You don't care? No?
I don't even know. I don't know who Aaron Boone is. Last time I heard about Aaron Boone was in 2003, I think, when he hit a home run against the Red Sox. Since then, he's irrelevant to me, Alex. I want to talk about the Knicks' big win.
All right, me too.
The Nets. You excited? You feeling
exciting.
Good?
Feeling great. That was that was an all-time classic. I mean, it's not just a Knick, because it's a Knick game. It was double overtime at the Garden, on national Celtics, on national TV, like the second kickoff game night. You know what I mean? Like the NBA must have been drooling over this game. They probably couldn't believe how great it was, and it was just exciting, man. And I couldn't believe they almost blew it, which was crazy. Jaylen Brown chucks up this Hail Mary 3 and gets it in, and then they turn it over, and then they don't foul, and then Kemba just turns in, and I don't know. Van Gundy called Kemba out there, and that's going to be tough. The defensive drop off from Kemba and Fournier is big this year, but we were talking about this on our text messages earlier today. But I'll take the offensive help over the defensive help. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather the sway towards the offense because of the way the league is.
I agree with that. And, you and I had talked about previously coming into this. I talked about Fournier, talked about Kemba Walker, and Fournier obviously had a tremendous latter part of the game. Earlier, not so much, but he kicked in and he was great and he fed into the crowd and they're all in love with him. And it's a big kumbaya fest for Evan Fournier. I can't wait till he sees Kevin Durant again. That'll be exciting. But overall, I mean, you're right. That one play in the fourth quarter and the game was atrocious. I mean, that was the example of how you don't play defense, but credit the Knicks. They came back in overtime after getting down early again in the extra session when threes were raining like crazy to come back and then have the mental fortitude to get the win. Very difficult after experiencing that kind of tough spot, similar to what the Bucks did against the Nets in game seven when Durant made that crazy shot. We go into OT and whatever. So credit to the Knicks. It was fun. It was a great watch. I was actually watching it on my phone using the NBA app, and as an NBA fan, it was awesome. It was enjoyable. It was there, and credit to the Knicks crowd that they brought the energy. They were fantastic, and I think that's what adds to it. I was DMing with I can't remember now, and I apologize.
Name drop, no name drop, not a big.
No, I'll look it up, and I apologize. Anyway, the point is, I was like, if this game was Orlando versus Detroit in Detroit or Orlando, we'll say Orlando, we'll pick on the Magic, it wouldn't have had the same feel, but it's the Garden. It's one of the better fan bases in the league, hyped up crowd, the whole deal, the Celtics. So it made for what I believe as well is one of those kind of instant classic games that we'll see for a long time.
Yeah, it was. And especially since it was an opener. So it's one of those, it wasn't a random game in January where who cares, you might forget about it. This was like the opener, national TV. Tracy Morgan with the biggest chain you've ever seen is sitting front row. It's just everybody was there. Jon Stewart, Pete Davidson. It was just a million stars. And that kind of adds to the excitement of it. I know it's kind of stupid I'm not bragging about it. It's just kind of cool. And, it's nice to have a team that bounces back, took a shot in the mouth and came back And then they traded threes in overtime. And then it just became the Fournier show in the second overtime, I believe, where he just hit the first 2 threes or three. I don't remember the play. It was just all mushed together now. But, eventually they were relying on him too much. I'm like, can we run our offense? You know what I mean? It's not the Fournier offense. And that's when I sent out a tweet like, can we stop giving the ball to Fournier? And then people, of course, got back at me with the update, thing after Fournier hit the threes.
It's funny.
It's fun. Yeah, no, it's all fun. And that's all fun. And nobody's taking it too seriously except a couple of people, but that's their problem. Anyway, but Fournier is the kind of guy, I'm so happy to have somebody like him. He's a professional basketball player. He's the kind of guy that I wanted them to get last year in like a Bogdanovich or a Gallinari, where just add me a professional guy. Stop adding the guys at the end of the bench, like the Alec Burks or the Bullocks, which they're nice players, but I need a professional guy who could step in and hit a big shot, who's not going to be scared of the moment, who's going to know when to make the right play that's not going to show up on the stat sheet. He's that kind of guy. And it's so nice to have that. And Kemba didn't have the best game, and he had those defensive lapses at the end and the turnovers at the end of the regulation, but he's got it, man. And I just think that the Knicks might need to rely on Derrick Rose a little bit in crunch time right now until Kemba gets his feet wet with this team and they learn a little more. Because I don't know if you can play them together. It's kind of a weird dynamic there, but there's no reason to not have a minute of a Knick game go by that's not garbage time where Rose or Kemba is not on the floor. And that's an amazing thing to have in your pocket, as a team.
I was highly impressed with Fournier. I agree with your point about having just a professional basketball player. Evan Fournier is not going to score 30 points a game in this league, but he's a guy that's capable of going off and having big games, and he's capable of scoring, and he's capable of doing that. That's something that would excite me. I would be disappointed in what I saw from Kemba. I mean, the lack of focus in the fourth quarter was atrocious, and I thought it was interesting what the ESPN broadcasters brought up. I don't remember if it was Van Gundy who was like, hey guys, just want to tell you, they're not benching Kemba because they think he's not the player that should be out there. They're doing it because of his minutes in the long term. And I think that was Van Gundy's way of being nice and letting like that go by. But I'm sitting here watching this end and I'm going, if Julius Randle's going to be your point guard, what's the point of having Kemba Walker run around off screens? You're going to make him your 2 guard? At that point, it's like, take him out. I was like, thank you. And like,
you're rooting for the Knicks. You're rooting for the Knicks.
It was just frustrating. Like, what are you doing? Bring in Derrick Rose, and you saw the lift that he gave. He made a huge shot down the stretch off the backboard, put him up like 4. It was really kind of the nail in the coffin there. Made a huge difference. I expect Kemba to be, like you said, and this is what I saw when I was watching. Like I said, I think Kemba is not going to give the minutes. I think that was a bad sign. It's early on. It's just the first game, of course. But again, to me, I would be very pleased with what I saw from Fournier, that he has toughness in the sense of he's not scared of people and he's not scared of the big moments. And to me, Kemba just looked like he's a guy that's going to be coming off the bench and giving you 15 to 20.
It's possible. It's the first game overreactions like we all have in all ways. And the first game does mean a little more. I know people say it's just like every other game, but it's not. It's your opener. It's something to get people happy, excited. You don't want to come into a season with, last year the Knicks opened the season and lost their first 2, and they were, it would look like this was a mess. Like, what's happening here, and they were fine. But that doesn't always happen. It's better to start off like, let's say 6-3, 7 and whatever it is, go 3-4 games over early, because then you can kind of cruise a little bit. You know what I mean? You have that negative vibe is off your back, and like you kind of like, you look at the standings, you still feel pretty good, even if you have a bad loss. If you start off 0-2 and then you win one and then you lose another one, and now you're looking at 1-3 and you're like, oh my God, the season could spin out of control. It's just, especially with the attention the Knicks get and with the fan, the media, I don't want to just pick on the media. The national media is ready to pounce. Like, they're already like, oh, look at the cute little Knicks. Are they really much better than these other teams? It's just like, can we get a little respect? I know we got stomped out in the first round. That's fine. But they were pretty good last year. And it wasn't just a 20-game stretch at the end of the season, which was incredible. They were consistently good all year. And and now they have the same team back from last year with the upgrades of Kemba and Fournier and RJ Barrett getting better. Can we have a little respect? And Mitchell Robinson looked incredible as well. He looks really good. Fans are into it. We're going to have a home court advantage. It's exciting to play there as an away team, but not when the Knicks are good. You know what I mean? Everybody always says the away team players love coming to the Garden because they get to play in front on the stage in the middle of the city. And it's just this history at the Garden. and it's not about the other team. But now it's like, all right, it's kind of, I don't want to say the 90s because that's, that home court advantage was unmatched than that what they had. But it's kind of like that. If the fans are going to be into it like this, obviously it's the opener. It's not going to be like this. But if it's going to be something close to this every night, and the Knicks are giving you effort, and they're a really good team, teams are not going to want to come to the Garden to play the Knicks. I'll just put it that way. And if you get that home court advantage, people are going to be, I know it didn't work last year in the playoffs, so, I get it. But it's a major advantage to have.
Well, you remember last season, nobody really had that home court advantage on any platform because there were no fans there. Yeah. So, that made a huge difference when you look at these home road records. I'll remember all of a sudden we get to the playoffs and they're like, full house at Barclays, full house at MSG. And I was like, whoa, this is jarring. I think we kind of forget that was a huge difference. And the teams were still better at home because it's just the natural way of it. But yeah, having the crowd, having it there will make a huge difference. I agree with you that the national media is ready to pounce. And it's a lot. It comes from a lot of different directions. I can't speak on why the national media in a lot of ways wants to get on the Knicks, but there is this almost like this back and forth that has brewed because of the Knicks fan arrogance. And I think I could speak from somebody that doesn't like the Knicks. You see it. There's an arrogance with the Knicks fan. There is. Of course. Nobody can sit here and tell me otherwise when I hear a Knicks fan say, there's no fan base like us. We're the best ones there are. There's nothing like when it wins at the Garden. The NBA is better when the Knicks are better. They never had another team in the town. I've talked about this a ton, where the Met, Yankee, Giants, Jets, there's always been another team there. There never was another team. So when the Knicks fan said they've all come together, I've said it's like the Yankee and Met fan have a baby. You get the Knicks fan, and they've had everything to themselves. So there's an arrogance about them. And yeah, you've said it. You're right. It's a sleeping giant. I won't say this. Or actually, I will say this because I'll piss you off. But you'll know I'm saying it tongue in cheek. It's been 20 years since the Knicks were good.
Not really.
I'm joking around. So
yes,
it's been a long.
That's the dramatic way that people say it. 20 years, 20 years, 20 years.
So now there's this weird part dynamic where the Knicks fan knows, right? They know the media is out to get them, so they're almost bringing it out even more to showcase how excited they are, and like a weird back and forth where, like those videos where fans leave the game and there they are, and it's like. Yeah. Taken a life on its own where here's fans getting excited because they know what's to come from it, almost as if, I don't know if that really represents all the Knicks fans. For example, I know Knicks fans all the time go, I hate Net fans, these fake Brooklyn Net fans that go to these games, these idiot kids. And I'm watching these videos going, are you
smart? Yeah, are you the smart ones?
I haven't seen these videos of these idiot kids, but I can tell you, I've watched Knicks videos of people going around cussing, cursing, and screaming and saying stupid shit. So I've seen those videos. I just want to make sure we keep it consistent. I don't think that's a true Knicks fan. I almost think that's people searching for video because it's been so long and now we're placating into it.
Right. It's the clout chasers. And we talked about this when we had Triple M on when he was the FanDuel winner 2 weeks ago. And he was the one who found the original video when they went to 500 last year, and there were a few fans in the stadium, everybody in the arena, and everybody's outside cheering, and that video blew up and it went everywhere, like over 2 million views. And that was cool because it was organic. Then after that, all the fans tried to mimic that, to try to get on, to go viral, so they can be on a video and go viral. And now it's like the front of the Garden is under construction. So remember I told you after the Knicks, when they won last year, I was at game 2 and everybody's going crazy. Yeah, everybody was into it and excited, but we literally had nowhere to go. Like, yeah, there was a huge crowd, but the huge crowd was because there was a bottleneck of people. There's one exit and entrance at the Garden in the front, the main entrance of the Garden where the marquee is. And that's where all the congestion is. So, and now it's like they're getting these videos and getting these drunk idiots who are just trying to get on TV. Like, oh, look at the L, look at the L. It's kind of embarrassing. I mean, it's cool. It's cool when it's organic. Like you get a couple of fans outside the Garden on the way in for a playoff game. Yeah, let's go. That's cool. But when you're doing it, you're dancing in the streets after you won game 1. I know it's exciting, but like, let's relax here. Like, you know what I mean? Let's relax. And I get it. People want to be on TV and, they walk around and you're going down the escalators going, let's go Knicks, filming themselves and posting it on the internet. And that's cool. And I did that when I was at the game, the playoff game, but at some point, let's act like we've been there a little bit. You know what I mean? At some point, we won this game. It's exciting. This team is great. Not great, but looks like they can be really, really good. Let's chill out a little bit. We don't need to be banging be like Bills fans and jumping through tables after every game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, let's relax.
It's almost, getting at that kind of concept where the Knicks, I'm not saying they're doing that, but there is a little life to it. And that's kind of brewing with the Knicks fan where it's becoming part of that like internet sensation with that. It's kind of interesting. That Bill's point is great. I'm frustrated too because I was, I'm watching Nets don't play today, and like all I wanted the Nets to do was play the Sixers today. And you mentioned teams go 0-2. I'm like, I'm fearful. Nets going into Philly look like trash versus the Bucks. I'm starting to get worried. Like if they lose to the Sixers, now they're 0-2, and just trying to remind myself that there's this long process involved to get to a point. And I will say one place where I'm very jealous of the Knicks.
Let's hear it.
I'm jealous of the Knicks because they take their preseason on a serious note, and the Nets don't. And I do think that impacts them early in the year where like they're not as sharp. And credit to Thibodeau because he did take it seriously and it did help them. Now, in the long run, I don't think that really matters. And I don't think that matters for the Nets in their championship journey because in the long run, it's like I said, the Nets beat the shit out of the Warriors and the Celtics last year in the first two games. It was a completely different roster. It didn't even have any impact on what happened. So I take that with a grain of salt, but I do kind of get jealous at the fact that they're ready and they're ready to play. I felt like the Nets were just not prepared at all and came out flat with no energy versus Milwaukee. It was frustrating.
Yeah, that is frustrating. And it maybe the conditioning of the preseason and going hard in the preseason helped them in this double overtime game because by the end of the second overtime, the Celtics were getting a little flat. And, the Knicks won the game and Rose hit the big shot and Randall had the and one, the huge play and whatever. But the Celtics went a little cold there. And that last shot, Tatum hit it from the shot one from the corner. And there was a few misses on that last possession. There were open shots. The ball just kept bouncing to the Celtics, and they missed them. And maybe that's because their legs were tired. I mean, I don't know. We'll never know for sure, of course. But it's nice to have a team that doesn't take any plays off, doesn't take any days off, plays hard. You can't complain about the NBA being soft and then also complain about the Knicks are playing their players too many minutes. You got to pick a side. Pick a side here, pick one. If you want the rest days and you hate the rest days, then you can't hate the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I completely agree with that. I understand that point of view. And like I said, I wish the Nets took it a little more serious, but I do know it ultimately doesn't matter in the long run. It's about getting ready for where they need to be. I thought Tatum, by the way, in that overtime, like he had the one drive where he went to the hoop and got the and one, but then just turned into settling guy. And he's just settled for threes. I don't know if he was tired. I know he was just abysmal early on in the game, but hey,
RJ Barrett was defending him.
Yeah, he did an excellent job. You're a superstar player, though. You could see when he took it to the basket, it was a different dynamic than him just chucking up threes. And the one play that just pissed me off from the Celtics, because I was rooting for them hard, which I don't normally. It's like I dislike the Celtics a ton. But when they're playing the Knicks, I'm going to have to root for the Celtics unless it's something that it involves a net playoff scenario.
Of course.
The Jaylen Brown steal, and he had to go. He had no legs under him, and he had to have a dunk. Just go up and lay it in. That would have been. I believe if he hits that, the game's over. Like the momentum shift would have been done. The Schroeder missed layup as well was a huge momentum swing. But that Jaylen Brown dunk where he gets the steal, it's just him in the rim and he takes off like halfway between the free throw line and the rim and
cocks it back.
Cocks it back. It just go to the basket, obviously just dunk it in, and it's you're
do an Oakley lay-in. Do a little Oakley lay-in. Just drop it in the hoop. Yeah. No, I get you. And that might be the tired legs. That might be the tired leg situation we're talking about.
Dunk. Don't take that kind. If you're tired, just go up there and lay the basketball in. You don't have to electrify anybody at this point. Just score the basket. And that pissed me off from the Celtics. I don't know, Alex, and nobody tell me the Celtics are good or the Celtics are bad. I don't want to hear it. I don't know the answer. We don't know the answer to that. Like people that want to go, the Knicks won, but they beat a shitty Celtics team. The Celtics might be good. I don't know yet. Okay, we don't know yet. It's game one. They've got two very, very, very good basketball players.
All-stars.
They have all-star players. The team around them, not great. The depth's not there. We get it. They have some other nice pieces we could talk about, but it's not. They don't have the depth that they once had. It's not the Celtics before with Gordon Hayward, Kyrie Irving, like that. Those guys aren't there. The depth has bottomed out.
Yeah,
but we don't know if the Celtics, like you could look back at this Knicks win and go, the Celtics suck. It was a great game, but the Celtics suck. Or we could go over in 7 weeks and be like, that was a great win. The Celtics are competing for home court in the East. We don't know. But anybody that's going to give me this narrative and explain how good the Celtics are going to be yet, tell me how you know the answer after one game versus the Knicks when the East is so muddled up together because it's so damn competitive this season.
Yeah, no, you don't know. And like you said, the Celtics have two really, really good players, like really, really top tier players in the NBA. And Jaylen Brown, it looks like he's going to take a step to that level where he wasn't yet, so it's not fair, but that's the next excuse. The next thing is if the Knicks reel off a couple wins here, I'm not even sure who they play off the top of my head. I forgot over the next few
Orlando
games.
Friday?
I think it's Orlando Friday, which is a team they should beat, but it's a team they should beat. So if they go up 2-0 and then the Celtics lose again, then you're like, oh, who did the Knicks really beat? Who do they really beat? That's what it's going to become. But who cares? You know what good teams do? They beat the bad teams. That's why the Heat and the big three Heat, the Nets last year, or just whatever team.
Well, not the Nets last year. They lost.
Well, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
the top teams, the Lakers of the past, the Bulls of the past, just the big dynasty teams. You know why they had such great records? The Warriors. They beat you think the Knicks back then when they're playing the Warriors were going to beat the Warriors? No, but did anybody think twice about it? They're like, no, the Warriors are supposed to win this game, and nobody gave the Warriors crap for it. I know the Knicks are not the Warriors, but you get the comparison.
I got you. No, I totally get it.
It's just,
I totally get it.
Yeah, it's unfair, but that's it. That's life.
And then the frustration. I'll tell you from my end, Alex. I never want to see the fucking Milwaukee Bucks for a long time. I'm so sick of them. The Nets have just been. They have gotten their ass whooped by the Bucks. Minus the first two games in. I was gonna say in Jersey, in Brooklyn. They beat the shit out of the Bucks. Since then. I guess they're 1-5 versus Milwaukee with the amazing KD game. Milwaukee owns the Nets right now. That's the way it is. And all I've seen now is high level games because you mentioned just like you felt the Knick game one had more juice to it. I feel the same way as my regular season opener. I have to watch ring night. We got to go through that whole experience
after you lost to them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I am so fucking relieved that we're gonna go Friday night and watch the Nets play the Sixers, and maybe they lose. The whole Ben Simmons won't be there. That's a whole nother mess. But at least I can watch this team play somebody else because I think we've with the narrative of. If the Nets only played the Bucks, but there's going to be other teams that they play. There's going to be other teams. It'll be so nice to see some of the, teams that aren't Milwaukee, because that's the standard of what the top is. The Nets aren't there yet. I believe they can get there, and I think they will. But right now, they're not. I'm so relieved to see the Nets play a team not named Giannis Antetokounmpo and the
Chris
Milwaukee
Middleton.
freaking. I'm so over them. I'm over them.
I hear it. I hear you. The Nets are like they were a top heavy team, obviously, with the big three. Now correct me if I'm wrong. Now without Kyrie, it feels like their roster doesn't make a lot of sense anymore because it was built around having those top three players and then everybody played off of them. Now it's like you look at them, you're like, well, some of their guys in the front court are a little older. You got Patty Mills look really good. Like, don't get me wrong, but do they in Claxton? He's not gonna have games. He's gonna be better than what he was the other night. But do you think they're a little bit mismatched now with their team? It doesn't really quite make sense. So they have Kevin Durant playing power forward, kind of, right? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like weird. You know what I mean? I know positions don't matter when you have that kind of talent, but now they only have two of them. They don't have three. So I don't know if it really you kind of need guys to fill roles now.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that from a net standpoint of. They have the most balanced roster. Yeah, I know, but I'm going to be a nasty guy. I think they have a more balanced roster than they ever did. I look at last year and Landry Shamet came off the bench and he was so inconsistent. He had good games, he had bad games. I think that role has been filled by Patty Mills, which you're going to get a much more consistent basketball player. The Nets last year lacked size. They added that with Aldrin and Millsap. I think the questions for me on the Nets, I believe they have a much deeper and balanced roster than they had in the past. My question for them is, and this is what really concerned me. This is the one. Here's what actually concerned me about the Nets. Not that they lost to the Bucks, and not that they didn't have as much energy, because I know all that shit will work itself out and it won't matter. It's the trends that happened last year that happened again this year. If the Nets are going to add size and be less athletic, they have to do a better job rebounding. They have to. At that point, go small and change your dynamic if you're going to get your ass kicked on the boards. Now, I'll preface that with this one point. It's always the Bucks that I've now seen this. So if there's another team in hand, I'll have a different feeling about it. But right now, that's the part that frustrated me. Why was Bruce Brown not getting any run at all in the game? Why did we started with Claxton? I get it. Why did we fall in love with that? And why did James Harden have to have this idea to lob him the ball every damn time down the court? Why did Paul Millsap only play 5 minutes? What happened on that front? Why was that going on? Again, those are the questions I would have for Coach Nash. Why did you decide Paul Millsap only got 5 minutes? Why did Bruce Brown only get 3 minutes in garbage time at the end where it never really counted? And are you worried if you're going big like that and you can't rebound, is that a problem? Those are the questions I would have as a concern. Like, I think the Nets.
James Johnson also, I was going to interject as well. Why did he get so much burn? Why did James Johnson get so much burn?
It's just the rotation seemed off. But let me put it this way, like James Johnson got run, but last year the Nets were so depleted at the end of that bench. It was bad with guys that weren't able to come in. They have much more depth than they ever have. They just lost Kyrie Irving. That sucks. Yeah. They lost Kyrie's Kyrie.
Yeah. Yeah. But on the boards, like you were saying, that's of course. And he makes up for all. That's what I'm saying. When you have 3 Hall of Fame,
doesn't matter.
Amazing. It doesn't matter who's on the floor. Like, the Heat had Joel Anthony. You know what I'm saying? With the big 3. Like, it doesn't matter who's playing with the North Cole. It doesn't matter. But now they don't. So now it's like you have you got Aldridge, who's old and retired last year and came back. He had his issues. That's fine. But you got Aldridge, Millsap, Blake Griffin. These guys are not young guys. And when they go against guys like Giannis, who's just like, no one guard Giannis. That's a bad example. Let's say they play the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson. You think anybody's going to be able to grab a board over Mitchell Robinson? Like, who's going to box him out? I mean, it's just problem. Like, it's a problem. And then once the playoffs come and you need that big rebound to get that second shot, and you need that offensive board, like, who's grabbing that? You know what I mean? But the Nets have shown in the past that they'll go at the deadline and make moves. They'll bring guys in on the buyout season. They'll make they'll do something. They're not going to be stagnant and be like, this is our team. Who cares? Let's hope Kyrie gets a shot.
And I saw when the Nets, when they tried last year in the playoffs, I mean, they kicked the shit out of the Celtics. And then the Milwaukee thing was a different story. They amp it up. I mean, the Nets take the regular season like a joke. I'll be curious how much they amp it up. I expect. I mean, the crazy thing is KD had like 33 and 11 and didn't play well. I mean, he missed everything. He was like 11 for 22 from the field. He missed all these open shots that he normally makes, and he was below his standards. James Harden turned the ball over too much. I mean, those are the issues that they turned the ball over and they couldn't rebound. And they got outshot by Milwaukee. Milwaukee had 20 more shots than the Nets. You're not going to win games with that. It doesn't matter. You're not going to win games with that. So I'm frustrated by it. It's one game, but you know what? Like, it's one game, and we'll see what happens moving forward. I'm excited to see the Nets play the Sixers on Friday. Things change fast. It's an 82 game season. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. There's going to be moments you come on this podcast, you're going to be pissed. There's moments I'm going to come on this podcast and be pissed. You'll happy. I'll be happy. And it's a long journey that's just begun. But damn it, I was hoping this wasn't the start.
But the Bucks went into that game. It's the ring ceremony. They're on that emotion. And all offseason that they hear, oh, you only won because, Kyrie and Harden got hurt. You only won because Durant's shoe is too big. Like,
not the shoe part.
You know what? They beat the Suns. They went down 2-0 against the Suns that were a really, really good team.
Agreed.
And they beat them. Agreed. Giannis was playing center and blocking DeAndre Ayton's alley-oops. Like, you know what I mean?
Didn't watch a second.
Middleton
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, Middleton was hitting jumpers in the Eastern Conference Finals when Giannis was out and carried them to the finals. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it wasn't just because they beat the Nets. They had to win 2 other series there, and the Bucks heard that all offseason, and they were ready for the Nets. And they came in like a buzzsaw, and the Nets were dealing with the Kyrie stuff, and they were just trying to piece together their rotation, and it's still early. So that's you walked into a buzzsaw there. I'll give you guys a break there. But
don't give any of them a break. You want to say go fuck fuck you Nets.
That's how I feel. I mean, I was happy they lost. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to be rational here. You know what I'm
saying? So annoying seeing the Knicks fan happy. It's so annoying. It's just not. I like seeing you happy because I kind of like you, but just seeing all the pompous assholes so excited about it, so annoying. It's just so annoying. To be honest, like, it's annoying. It's just the excitement. I wouldn't say, people say, oh, you're upset because it's taking away from the Nets light. No, that's not the case at all. Not at all. I mean, that
a little bit. No, a little bit.
No,
I think it's a little, like 5%.
No, it's not that it's taken away. I just dislike them so much. I'm unhappy seeing them win. It has nothing to do with taking away from the Nets. I don't care. I don't care if anybody ever talks about the Nets or there's anything done with them. I don't give two shits. I want to see them win a championship. I don't want to see a banner that goes up into the rafters that says you were really loud after game 1 of the regular season. You don't get a championship for that. I want to see a title. So
what about the Empire State Building? Do you get a banner for that? You got a banner for the Empire State Building?
Who cares? Oh my God. It's such troll bait. There's so much troll bait. I'm like amazed at the amount of people, paid professionals on Twitter that troll. It's unreal.
Oh my God. Yeah. You're like starting to see that because now you're the big time where you're one of the top tier teams now. You're not like in Jersey and in the background. People care now. And that's why I always say the Nets have arrived, because they have. And you're starting to see it. You're starting to see what the Knicks fan has been dealing with all this time. Of all the things of the Knicks for click stuff, you're starting to see that with the Nets. It's the same thing where they want to troll the Nets. They say they want to troll Kyrie. They want to do everything, like that. Of course. But my tweet about the Empire State Building,
I know you were joking.
For people I was obviously joking. I wasn't even trolling. I was just joking around. So to people who didn't see it, the Empire State Building lit up in orange and blue the opening day when the Nets happened to play, and the Knicks played on day 2 because they weren't part of the opening thing. So I said, look at the Empire State Building, something like that. They're lighted up for the Knicks. By the way, the Nets play tonight and the Knicks only played. It's something like that. So, and everybody went wild with that tweet. I was just like, calm down. First of all,
how do you first off know that was even about the Knicks? I personally,
they said it. No, they said it. They announced that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to go and say it was about the Mets, and I'm going to make a joke, and now you.
Well, Steve Cohen sent a tweet, and they're trying to hire an executive, and they failed again, and they're like, "Hey, let's light it up just to make them happy." You know what I mean? Kind of a thing.
Anyway, like this. I had a Celtics fan text me today. Good guy. No. Good guy. Really well respected. I'll give him a shout out. Jeff White, one of my favorite people from Charlottesville, works for University of Virginia. He is a diehard Celtics fan, and he just loves the NBA. He was in a bad mood last night. Of course, his team lost.
Why? What did he do?
But he texted me and he goes, Nets-Knicks games are going to be nuts. He said that to me. He's like, Knicks games are going to be nuts. He's like, they're going to be a lot of fun because everything's boiling up, right? The Knicks, I'm not saying the A word. I'm not saying they've arrived. That's just so annoying when I hear that. The Knicks whatever. The Knicks are good. The Knicks fan dislikes the Nets fan. Like I've already started to think in my head, like that first game at Barclays, the Knicks fans that are in there will be so charged up to make sure that their presence is felt. This is our city. Like, it's coming.
Yeah,
it is so coming. I'm just saying these games are going to be intense. It's going to be good theater. They really will.
It is. And the Nets fans will be charged up because the Knicks fans are going to be there. So they're going to be extra louder, or we're going to be louder, giving a little extra because the Knicks fans in the building. They're going to be going in a little bit more, as if they were playing, the Clippers. It's not as exciting as it when the Knicks are in town. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. I don't know. I don't want to. Well, I guess I kind of brought it up, so I kind of have to, but. The Kyrie stuff. Jalen Rose said on the opener pregame for the Knicks game, said that he thinks Kyrie, he's just his thoughts that by the holiday season, he thinks that by then everybody's feeling good. It's the holiday time. You miss your friends. You want to be on Christmas Day, that Kyrie will get the shot around then. What do you think? You think that there's any chance of that? I mean,
I think
obviously it's just a thought.
I think anything is on the option with this guy. I think to have rational thought about what Kyrie Irving is going to do is impossible. I bet you okay. I wouldn't be shocked, Alex, if in the middle of this podcast I get a text from my dad again, and he says Kyrie Irving just announced he's getting vaccinated. Surprised, yes, but I wouldn't put it past him. Or here's an idea: I wouldn't be stunned if it never happened. Or this one, and this is the one I'm gonna think happens. I bet you he does it like a week before the playoffs, and he comes back, and then the whole discussion is: do the Nets need him? Is he interrupting the flow? They secured this seed. Are they better without?
So cowardly, man. That's so cowardly and corny.
I could see that too.
So
and you know what I think, Alex? I don't give a shit.
You won't. But that's so corny. As a person, that'd be so corny.
Well, I don't know. I'm just a hypothetical.
I know, really hypothetical, corny situation. Kind of a thing. This is. It's just. you boiled it down to this way. He doesn't care about winning. He doesn't. He's got his title. He has his moment. It's a great moment hitting that shot against the Warriors to win that crazy series and give his Cavs a championship. He doesn't care. He said it last year on Durant's podcast. He doesn't care. If it's not going his way, he'll sit out. And he proved that last year and then traded for Harden. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, my personal things are gone. I'm good now. And you know what? There's no doubt in my mind, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. He would have gotten the vaccine. Even if he doesn't believe in it, he would have gotten it because winning is all that matters to him. Well, it's not all that matters to Kyrie. It's not.
I thought there was halftime of Nets Bucks, and to say Kyrie doesn't care about winning, I don't think that's completely accurate. I think you can be in different phases in different directions, and I'll give you some examples of that. Like, for example, here's one about Kyrie Irving. I think he does a lot of great, and I think he does a lot of good for the communities. I think he does a lot of great work for people, and he does an amazing job to help. And there's nothing anybody can say that takes him away from what he's done for others. It is unbelievable. In the same vein, you can still do bad things and do good things at the same time. They're not unexclusive, like they're mutually exclusive. Excuse me. You could do good things and you can do bad things. And what Shaq said at halftime of the Nets versus Buck game, I thought was just so on point with what reality is with Kyrie Irving. He goes, yeah, you're right. He doesn't have to get the vaccine. He doesn't have to do that. That is his personal choice, and that's what he thinks is best for him. But Shaq goes, you know what championship teams do? They sacrifice, and he's not sacrificing for his team. He's only doing what he thinks best for him. And if he wants to sacrifice, he'll help the Nets. And he doesn't want to. But that might change.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I
thought that was a great quote. I thought that was just great.
It's true. It's very true. And Shaq nailed it with that, and that's why I was saying, it's probably why I got the thought of the Kobe thing from that Shaq speech. I watched that too. It's just, these guys, there's no question about it. Name the guy, name the all-time great. They're getting that shot. If they have to, they'll get it, Bradley Beal, I know he doesn't have to right now, but I bet you if he was on the Nets, he'd get the shot. He's just that kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he doesn't want to do it.
I don't know.
But it's just I know we're hypothetical and that's a stupid thing to say. So maybe I should retract that. But
I mean,
in general, it just feels like he's just a different kind of dude. Kyrie is, you know what I'm saying? It's just like he bounces to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah. So to answer your question in full circle, I don't know. I don't know. Jalen Rose might be right. Maybe he misses the guys. He wants to be with the camaraderie. Maybe he has a change of heart with that. He sees the team is struggling. I mean, I don't know. And it also brings the point of, this is one game of 82. There are so many twists and turns that are about to happen in this season. We have no idea. When we were starting the podcast last year, I was gushing over LeVert and Dinwiddie in the Nets' depth. And then that got all washed when Dinwiddie got hurt, who's been really good for Washington that first game, looking like a steal with what they got with him. And then also the James Harden trade. I mean, everything changed on the fly. So it's like, it's different then. So just remember, in this moment now, it's going to be very different moving forward. So it's almost impossible to know what's going to happen. Something we have not talked about is RJ Barrett with the terrible first half offensively, then comes to life in the third quarter. Obi Toppin steps up, and some of that Knicks depth played a big factor in the third quarter and the turnaround, helping the Knicks get the win. Of course, the issues at the end of the fourth quarter, that was a disaster. But you saw in the third quarter, some of the younger Knicks play good basketball.
Yeah, no, RJ Barrett, I was tweeting it out throughout the game, and they weren't getting RJ involved. And I know it's a new team, and Kemba and Fournier know each other, so they're going to kind of feed off each other. And Randall's always going to get the ball, and Mitch gets the garbage points. And then it's RJ was just like hanging out in the corner. And I was tweeting out, give the ball to Art, somebody run a play for RJ Barrett. Can we get him the ball? And every time, and then it became like, when you don't, you play basketball, obviously not at a high level, like I haven't either, but play basketball, you don't touch the ball for a few possessions. You're like, you feel, you just get the ball. You're like, oh, what do I do? Shoot. Oh, damn. And then you're just get so down on yourself because you didn't get the shot, but then you think, all right, when am I going to get the ball again? And then it becomes this mental game. You have to get him in rhythm. He's 21 years old. He is your future. Julius Randle is the star, but RJ Barrett is the next 15 years. You know what I mean? If he can be a superstar, that's the guy. And they were kind of staying behind. I think they were losing most of the game early on until RJ Barrett started getting involved, and he had that big dunk, and then Obi Toppin comes off the bench and gives them the spark, and they were playing Randall and Obi together. And that was something that people were saying, oh, you can't do that. How can you do that? You can't play them together all last year. That's all I heard. And just give me a break. You know, you had to play him. Taj is out. You had to play him. And Noel is out too, and you had to play him. And that's another thing, two guys that are going to be back in the rotation. Who knows what's going to happen with Obi, but you can't sit Obi now. You know, after that game, he's young and coming up, you know, so there's a lot of things at play now, but I have faith that Tibbs is going to get it right. And I know his rotations kind of were head scratching last year, but I think looking back holistically at last season, the obsession with Elfrid Payton was kind of from the mindset of, we're winning. You know what I mean? We're winning these games. Why am I going to bench my starting point guard, even though it was glaringly obvious that they should have? So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited about RJ Barrett. I'm excited about Obi Toppin. I'm really, really, really excited about Mitchell Robinson because that extra weight, he looks like a monster with these 17 rebounds. I know it was 2 overtimes, and that's why the stats are a little inflated. Fournier had 30 something points. Like, come on, man. He played 75 minutes. You know, let's calm down. You know, a lot more shots that he'll ever take, even just in the second overtime. Well, that's probably more threes than he would take in an entire game. So I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm rambling now, but you know, RJ Barrett, they need to work on getting him involved early. And they should try to maybe like do a screening rolls with RJ and Randall, you know, maybe try to work that, you know, and it's just these guys will get it right. Kemba's got to learn the guys and we'll get there. We'll get there. It's nice to have a win and to feel that way, you know?
Yeah, it must be nice. Must be nice, yes. Man. Feel a win. I did say this. It was nice to have another net loss to worry about. Not have to think about the one from before. Now I can just be like, oh, they look like shit. Not the same stupid stuff that I've seen over and over again.
Something else to talk about.
Brain. It did feel like with the Celtic Knicks game there at the end, it felt almost like a playoff game because they were just doing the same action every time. Randall takes the ball up the court. There's the screen. Wide will slip behind the screen. Fournier open 3. I don't know. Change it up defensively. Go around. Make him put
something different. Yeah.
Like he's not missing these open shots. Man, I hate when I have to like be a Celtic fan too. That is just annoying. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right. Yeah, and Kerry Kittle said it last episode on our show, episode 86. If you want to hear it, that he didn't like the Knicks. That was always there, and that 2004 sweep was very, very. I can't think of the words. I'm too tired. That was rewarding. Thank you. That's the word actually I was thinking of. It was very rewarding for him, but the most hated team for them was probably the Celtics.
And it was for me too at that time.
And you as a fan as well. So, you know, you're rooting for the Celtics because you know you really, really hate the Knicks and you got to do this and you got to hear it. It's in your face. The Knicks being good. True. That you have to root for the Celtics in that situation. And I would probably root for the Celtics too.
And like, you know, this is a topic we planned about before, but it's true now for me, especially with Twitter, because I didn't use Twitter like this before, but the Knicks are in my universe. I can't avoid it. Anytime I see it win or lose, it's there. I go on, we do a podcast together, which has been amazing. And then what it's done is I've now been interacting with Knicks fans and have made, like, I would say, like, friends with some of these guys on Twitter and Knicks fans, but I can't avoid it. So it's constantly in my face. I think beforehand, you know, a good Knicks win back in 2004, did I put on the nightly news or not? And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
But now you go on social media and you got guys, you know, putting out like videos and pictures and tweets and people saying like the real team in New York won. It's just annoying.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't have Twitter, then we wouldn't have met him and doing this podcast. So just think about that. That's how we met, from a tweet that I sent out that I was deliberately trolling. I sent out a tweet that said, I'm going, because I became public enemy number 1 to Nets fans because I wasn't giving them their flowers, you know, after all the free agents that's on. And I sent out a tweet that said, I'm going to send out a blatantly obvious troll tweet and watch what happens. And I wrote, the Brooklyn Nets, you know, how is that even a real team name? Why not just call them the backboards or the floors or the chair, you know, something stupid like that? And went nuts. And you saw the tweet. We interacted. I went on your other podcast, Mike Delivers. Check it out. Uber Eats delivery stories. But that's the kind of stuff that you see, and that's a good thing. It led to something good. And I've met a lot of nice people on Twitter that I consider like cool friends on Twitter. That, you know, that once we go to games and you know, we're doing this a little more, we can meet them and hang out and grab a beer and cheer at games and stuff like that. Do a pregame show at a bar or something. You know, that's stuff that we're thinking about down the road. And it's exciting to do that stuff. And Twitter can be a very, very cool tool if you use it right. But obviously there's a bunch of people out there that are just looking to cancel people and trash people and troll people and not have serious conversations. Everybody wants to joke, but sometimes you get a little too much. It's like sometimes you got to know when to stop. You know what I mean?
I will say that day I was having a bad day. Okay.
You were
a bad day. And I was at the DMV sitting with my lost car in Newark, waiting to get it back.
It was towed. It was towed.
Okay. Yeah,
right?
It was towed. I should say that. So what happened was, here's the story, is I was going to my second job and I illegally parked. So when I left my second job to go to my car, it was gone. Okay. This sucks. So then I first I was like, did I park here? Did I park there? Did I miss the place? Did I miss a place? Then I finally see a cop and I'm like, hey, I can't find my car. I swore it was here. Do you have a number for, like, can you call the state, the headquarters and see if someone towed it? He calls, they go, yeah, they did. So then they tell me where the impound is to get where the tow truck took my car. I call it. They're like, yep, your car is here. So then I take an Uber to this spot. Granted, this is the end of my second job. So I get there and I'm like, all right, I'm here. They're like, all right, pay the fine. We'll get your car. And they go, all right, we just, who has the title of the car? I go, it's under my wife's name. They go, yeah, you can't get the car.
Oh my God.
There's nothing you can do. So then I have to call my wife and be like, hey, honey, I need you to drive down 30 minutes, head on over here so you can get the car, pay the fine, and then we can go home. And I got this asshole tweeting me net stuff. So I'm sitting there waiting to my wife to come to this spot where I'm waiting for her so I can leave and we can pay and get out of there. I was extra sensitive that day. Yeah, I was.
I struck a nerve, but to your credit, because you're a normal person, you realized what you were doing. You're like, what am I doing?
I was in a bad my brain. I was being an idiot.
You're like, you want to come on my show? And I'm like, sure, let's do it. And then we went on and it was great.
No, I
got
that.
Very successful and it was fun.
I got that.
But,
so I was but yeah, I'm a normal person. That's just people like I've noticed this. I don't remember who it was, but someone's tweeting at me. And I think anytime you're like, want to get under somebody's skin, you're like, hey, don't be so sensitive. It's like such a triggering word that gets like under people's skin, like on tweets when you're trying to make a point, like, whoa, you're being so sensitive. It's like, well, I mean, we're engaged here in a conversation. Yeah, I got sensitive over the topic, if that's the way you want to define it. But don't use that as a cop-out because you don't know what else to say. It's so annoying. You're being sensitive. Oh,
right. You're getting antagonized. They're antagonizing you, and then they're mocking you for getting sensitive or responding to their antagonizing.
Like I have 177 characters or whatever the hell it is. You're coming at me. I'm responding, and then you're gonna say you're being sensitive. Well, I mean, what do you want? Of course, yes. You want me to respond like, excellent point, David. I really respect that. Wonderfully well put. Thank you for saying that I'm a stupid effing moron. Well said. I won't be sensitive to that.
Right. What? And then if you did talk like that, be like, oh, just because you're talking proper, you think you know what you're talking about? You know, somebody will flip it on you like that. You can't win on Twitter. But anyway, you want to get to the poll question and then the jersey number, or you have anything else you want to discuss?
No, I got nothing.
Zach Wilson, you're good.
I'll say. Let me just. I would say this. We have some fun things planned for future episodes. That's all I'm going to say. We got
Stay tuned.
Fun things planned.
Subscribe now.
I hope you guys like the Kerry Kittles interview. We got some more fun things coming your way. That's all I'll say. I can't say more than that.
Yes, we were sworn to secrecy. So what do we do first?
Or if they don't come through, I don't want to look like an idiot. That too.
Yeah. Well, we'll just act like they did. That's all. Anyway, poll question first and then jersey, right? Then
let's do it.
All right, poll question. I totally forgot to do one. I spaced, and then about 2 hours before we're recording this, I just put out something random. So I said, Knicks fans, after the opening night win, have your expectations for this team changed? Explain your answer. Yes, no, or no publicly, but deep down, yes. What do you think won?
No.
No won by landslide. 65% no, 18% yes, 16.9% no publicly, but deep down, yes. Okay, a couple shout outs. We have our boy actually responded to this, Connor Hughes. He's a beat reporter for the New York Jets. He's a big Knicks fan. He's actually been on the podcast. I don't remember what episode, but you can find it. Really big Knicks fan and Jets reporter. He responded 82-0. That was his response.
Like
of the Athletic Jets beat reporter. Pretty cool dude. Then we have Boodalicious, our boy. He was on the podcast last week. I probably should read his tweet. He gets enough pop on this show. But anyway, he goes, nope, 52 wins. Then we have our boy at Brain_Storms with a Z. He goes, nope, I said we'd win 70 games, and I still feel that way. So then we have a little bit of a negative response. We got high IQ. He's at D_Lee02. Still sticking to 500. I'd rather they figure to try some stuff and figure things out before the playoffs so they have more weapons. Wow, that tweet was an adventure. Then we have Vinny Gambles. So he probably gambles a little bit. He's at Vinny Nick. Top 3 seed, he says. That Vinny's cool. I like him. Then we have John Acevedo. He's at Johnny John 83. No, I expected 50 plus wins, and I think we still get there. Then we have Chris Porcelli. He's at Chris Porcelli. No, I was predicting 48 wins before the game, and I still am. Good for you, Chris, for sticking to your guns. Then we have Rob. He's at Bobby Fade. I still think we'll be a play-in team when all is said and done. I hope I'm wrong and we're as high as some people think, but I don't want to get ahead of myself when our main 2 point guards have like one good knee between them. And that's how I'll end it. So
with that note, we do have a Bad Weather Fans Fanduel League. Our guest this week could not join the Fanduel League because he's working. So respect to that, of course. Got to do what you got to do. You got to work, but with the timing of everything. But before we get to our winner and talk about him and just give him a shout out because he was unable to join us today, but we will give him his flowers for getting the victory in the Fanduel League.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say for people that are unaware of it or haven't heard about it, every Sunday we do an NFL Fanduel League, which you come and enter, Bad Weather Fans. If you win, you get to come on this podcast and talk some Knicks, talk some Nets, whichever your fan base is. But Alex sends out the link. That comes out Saturday around 12 p.m. Eastern time. So 10. For people in 10 a.m. Eastern time, that's what I said. So if you want to check it out moving forward, that's where you can find it. But Alex, our winner.
So our winner was at Life's a Breeze. His tag name is Bro. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it on the show. So I asked him if he wanted us to, he's a good follower of ours. He's in every Fanduel League every week, and he finally won. He was really excited, but he couldn't make it due to scheduling. So I said, is there anything you want us to say on the podcast? So he said, just bet the over with the Knicks and tell Mike, I hope Kyrie holds his ground. Sarcasm. And it's time for the Giants to do a complete rebuild. Everyone must go. So there you go.
We'll have to get Bro on the podcast because I think it'd be interesting because you and him go at it on Giants Jets takes. Yeah. And then we don't really go at it on Nets and Knicks things as much as I used to. But your Giants Jets conversations can get a little bit fun, a little heated. And I like to see Knicks fans fighting amongst themselves. So I think it'd be fun when we can find some time and carve it out down the road in the season to do that. For sure. That'd be fun. All right. So next is a jersey number trivia. We started off the jersey number trivia doing it every episode per the number. I'd ask Mike a question. Oh, number 12 on the Knicks, on the Nets. Can you guess this number 12? I'd pick one and give him hints. And now we're number 87. So we have, there's no 87s. And our boy, Dolan J. Trump. He's at Dolan_J_Trump. He sponsors it and gives us the clues for the questions. I asked Mike one. He asked me one. So who would you like to go first? Buy his merch. Make the Knicks great again. Yes. But why? But they're already great. So I don't understand. Shouldn't it be keep the Knicks great? Whatever. Figure that out, Dolan. You read to me first. Okay. Here we go. This is a tough one. He wore number 11 during his 2 seasons in Brooklyn. He played for 3 teams during his 10-year career. Well, slow down. You're going so fast here, Alex. Too fast. I'm sorry. I read too fast. You're going fast. He wore number 16. Got it. We're number 11. I know. You were okay. Go ahead. Slow down, please, for the love of things. I'm sorry. I got excited. He wore number 7. He went to the University of Georgia. And then when he was 17 years old, he had his first, he broke his finger. I was like, okay, let's slow down. All right. When he was 15, he got his first kiss. I was like, okay. Yes. You got that? Okay. He wore number 11 during his 2 seasons in Brooklyn. Do we have the years? No. You know his clues. They're always very vague. Yeah. Right. He played for 3 teams during his 10-year career. I mean, this is tough. He started 74 games during his 2-year span. No, it's not Brook Lopez. Wait, okay, say the third clue. He started 74 games during that 2-year span. He started 74. He doesn't give the years. So annoying. Okay, so let's recap. Number 11, 3 years, started 74 games.
Yep.
Okay.
He has a very famous uncle.
He's a very famous uncle. Interesting. Do you know who the uncle is?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. You're not hip. I don't know what's going on. All right. Yep. Is that it? That's all I get?
He was a lottery pick in the 2011 draft by the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay. Now we at least have something to work with. 2011 lottery pick, Cavs. Okay.
He attended the same university as Cherokee Parks and Sheldon Williams.
Okay. Is that all I get?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So 2011 Duke lottery pick, Cavs. Now, LeBron, I'm not thinking of the net. Like, it's not crossing my mind at all. So I'm gonna have to go a different path, and we'll go with a Duke lottery pick in 2011 from Cleveland. This is difficult, you were saying?
No, that's not.
I should know this.
Yeah,
Like, you're gonna look at this and go, "What is he wrong with you?"
I'm already laughing.
I'm like, it's so funny. The Brooklyn ones I can't do, but the New Jersey ones I can get.
It's tough. It's tough because he's not on the team anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. 2000. So if he was on the Nets, is it somebody on the team right now?
It doesn't say. Should I tell you?
No, just add the clue. Is he on the team right now?
He's on the team.
He's on the team. Oh God. Oh my God. What this is like a trick question. That's the answer?
Number 11.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable.
Well, who is it?
It's Kyrie.
That was fun. He was like, let's do a joke one first, and then we'll give you the real one. So
I couldn't even get the joke one.
He couldn't. That's why I was in there laughing. So
you know what it is? You know what it is?
I'm like, he's not currently on the team. That's what I said. That's
but you know what it is?
Too.
Here's why. It's like you overthink it. And I'm thinking back to all these years.
Yeah. Random players that would,
Yeah. So I wouldn't think he would do that.
Yeah.
So it just never crossed my mind. So I was thinking back to who was a number 11 Cav player that was, boy, he was drafted in 2011. Holy shit.
I know. We're getting old, man. So then, okay. So here's the real one. He wore number 0 during the 2019-20 season in Brooklyn, his only season there.
Okay,
so number
2019, 2020. Okay,
yes.
So this year is 21-22. Last year was 2021. So that means 19-20 was the shortened season. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to get my head to where this is going to be. Okay.
Yep. All right, and number 0. He debuted in 2016 as a member of the Lakers and has since played on 5 different teams.
Wow, that's fast.
It's a journeyman. Next.
Yeah.
He played in only 20 games for the Nets and averaged just over 5 points, but his contributions were much like Jason Collins's, not seen in the box score.
Okay, so he liked to set screens. That's all Jason Collins did. He set screens and was an enforcer. Okay.
Take charges.
Yeah.
Aside from the Nets, he has also been a member of the Cavs, Bulls, Rockets, and Lakers.
Number 0.
Yep.
Oh, God, these trivia questions. I need to start studying, I think.
I know. He's very vague with his clues because we were crushing him for a while. So he had to make the clues very vague.
One time he had a salami sandwich and it was cut.
The one was best. He's like, and I went to college with him once, or I had a class with him or something because he went to Maryland.
I saw him at my bio party, and I'm pretty sure he was drinking lemonade.
I saw him walking his dog. Well,
he likes to drink soda.
So at 6'5", he is a small forward / shooting guard, and he went undrafted out of Cal Poly.
I have no idea. I don't know. Who is it?
Daniel Nwaba.
It's David.
Oh, he wrote Daniel.
Well, he fucked it up. It's David.
So then you win because you know the name. So you get a half credit for that one.
Now I got a triple check.
I don't know. I know the last name. I didn't know. I knew it was a D
David
and the last
Nwaba.
name. So
unless there's a Daniel. He was number 0 for the Nets.
That's what he said.
Unless is there a Daniel Nwaba?
No. Were they brothers? Nwaba brothers is what I'm Googling right now.
Hold on. What? He was not number 0.
That's what it said. Number 0. Dolan J. Trump getting checked right now. Getting checked.
Okay. No, that's number 8. He can't read what numbers look like. No, it's number 0. I'm joking. I didn't remember what number David Nwaba was. I remember he was a really good net. And I like him on this team right now. He had a bad injury that ended his season, but he was playing really well for them that year. I think he's on the Rockets now, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah,
No idea.
It's not his name's not Daniel. So
It's David. I'm looking at
David.
Basketball Reference. It's David. Yeah,
I know it's
so
David. I watched the team play. Daniel. I can't believe the Kyrie Irving one.
That threw you
It was
off
almost,
so
but
much.
it's like it did throw me off because I was overthinking it.
Right, because you think he played so much more too. He's started 74 games in 2 years. You know, you're like, oh, maybe it's some random player that kind of was here for a second. That throws you off.
Which is depressing because that's how many games he played in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's a part-time guy, which he is.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
like $30 million fucking dollars.
Like Noah Vonleh, like kind of player.
Oh, you serious?
What?
Noah Vonleh?
That's the one was last week. That was last week.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. You ready?
I was mad. I remember the ones I don't get. Like Chris Wilcox, he got me once too. I was pretty mad about that.
Yep. John Starks.
Yeah. That's the jersey I'm wearing right now. How did I not get that one? Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, here we go. He wore number 14 during. Oh, you get the season? This is bullshit.
Chris Copeland.
No. Let me read the clues. He wore number 14 during the 2010-2011 season. His only at he wrote this, but I don't know if I agree with it. The world's most famous
at the
arena.
Mecca.
The arena. I don't know. Wherever the Knicks play.
So he wore number 14 in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's early. That might have been okay. Okay, so that's Amari Mello first year kind of.
He
thing.
started 21 games. In the 64 games he appeared as a Knick.
Okay, keep going.
He carved out a 10-year career after being drafted by the Lakers in the second round of the 2005 draft.
Is it Brewer? Corey Brewer? No, he didn't play a lot. He didn't play. Ronnie Brewer? No, not him. He was on the 13, 14, or that season. No, go ahead.
He won a championship, something the Nets have never done, / a team that Dolan Trump's rooted for as a member has done as well. He won this title as a member of the Miami Heat. Why am I telling people to buy his merch? What are we doing here?
Number 14, played for the Heat.
Won a title with the Heat.
Number 14. See, the 14s I should remember because 14 is a very special number for Knicks fans with Anthony Mason. So like every person that had number 14, you remember. Like number 3s, I remember. I remember Dennis Scott, John, Marbury, like so. Number 14. It's bothering me.
A true journeyman, big man. He played for the Warriors, the Wizards, the Clippers, Timberwolves, in addition to his stops in LA, NY, and Miami.
Warriors, Clippers, Timberwolves. Number 14. Oh my God, I should know this.
You want the last clue?
Oh, there's more? Yeah, definitely.
One more. Yeah, you get as much as you want. You got 13 more. Although he's French, he played his college ball for Mark Few.
Oh, I got it. What the hell's his name? Oh, my God. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know, with the braids. Oh, man. Now I can't think of his name. I know exactly who it is now. The braids. He was a really funny dude. He always was joking around. Oh my God, what is his name? People are listening to this podcast screaming at the radio right now, and I'm sorry, or at your phones. What the hell is his name?
Yep, he does have braids. You got that.
He has, oh my God, I know exactly who. I can picture him. I can probably draw a picture of his face right now, and I can't think of his freaking name.
I can give you some more clues.
Yeah, go ahead.
In 1999, he made the French under-18 national team.
That doesn't help me. I know who it is. I just can't think of his name. Oh my God.
I'll give you some more clues. Blank can speak 5 languages: French, English, Spanish, Italian.
God, man, what's his name? I give up. I forgot his name. I know who it is, but I
you really give up? Do you want to see a picture?
I know I can draw a picture of his face. I know who he is. I know who it is.
Ronnie
Looks like Jim
Turioff.
Jones. Turioff. Yes. Damn it. I knew it though. I really knew it. I just couldn't think of the name.
Well, I got one this round. You did not.
I did not. Yeah. Because you
Kyrie.
didn't get Kyrie.
Some net fan you are, Bisceglia.
Who's number 0 this year, Mike? As I call you,
I don't
Matt.
know any of the numbers this year. I don't know what any numbers are. Do you? I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I know, like, I don't know. I think when you're a kid,
It's Carter. Carter's number 0 on the Nets. I was just looking at the basketball reference.
Devon
That's
Carter,
how I know. Yeah.
Oh, did you see this? We don't have time for this now, but the all 75 team coming out, kind of.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah. I don't think Kyrie made it, or not yet. At least people are making that a controversy because everything Kyrie has.
Carter, he wasn't on there, right?
I haven't seen that yet. No, but the Knicks made it like Monroe, Willis, Ewing, Clyde. Who's it? And some of the older guy from the 50s. I forgot his name. I forgot their names. Whatever. But a bunch of guys made it. I think it's stupid. Real quick, I saw somebody say this, and I completely agree. I didn't come up with this, but I completely agree. They should have kept the first 50 and then add 25. You know what I mean? Because nothing has changed from your top 50 from the first 50 years. That's your top 50 from the first 50 years. Why not add 25 from the next 25 years? You know, I don't like.
Well, I guess if the 25 after someone kicked the other one out would be the way to look at it.
I guess.
Like if there's 27 better other players, and like, you know, I don't know, is Scottie Pippen really there? You know, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down that road.
No, I know. Yeah, no. That's a rabbit hole. Yeah. No, I gotcha. I guess that makes sense, but it's still a little weird. But I guess you still had the top 50 honor for the first 50 years. So either way, you know.
Bad Weather Fans, episode number 87. Knicks are 1-0. The Brooklyn Nets are 0-1. Next game for the Knicks is Friday when they take on the Orlando Magic on the road. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets travel to Philadelphia to take on a Sixers team that might have more controversy than the Nets, which is tough to do. And the Nets controversies kind of died down a little bit. They just got to get some W's. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. Apple, Spotify, you know the deal. Please give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment. And if you watch on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends, download this bad boy as we continue to pump out content, because the NBA season is back and we can talk Knicks, we can talk Nets, we can talk Nets, we can talk Knicks, and it's one game. It's an interesting first game. We got a long way to go, my friend Alex, and good shit as always.
Yeah, and if the other teams in New York were any good, we talk about them too. We don't just talk about the Knicks and the Nets, but it's the core of the podcast. But right now, every other team in New York is either done or they suck. And we don't care about hockey. So sorry.
And we don't care about hockey. It's true.
But thank you for listening.
Name anybody on the Rangers?
Panarin? Is he a Ranger?
I don't know.
I think he is, right?
Don't care.
Or is he an Islander?
I don't. I'm not going to. How can you be a sports fan and I don't? Because I don't. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, Alex. I'll see you later when the Knicks are 3-0 and the Nets are 0-3 next time.
I can probably name the whole Rangers roster from '94, though. So I'll just let you know.
You want to do Rangers jersey trivia next?
Yeah. No. My brother-in-law can crush it. He's a diehard Ranger fan. Anyway, let's end this podcast before we just ramble on for another 10 minutes and nobody cares. But shout out to Matt, my brother-in-law. Talk to you guys later.
Matt, Alex's brother-in-law. All right, Alex. Talk to you later, dude.
Talk to you later.